Hey everybody. Okay, so this is my role play for week 2, and the first segment is how I would begin the first meeting in terms of laying out goals and structure and starting to join with the family. So I think the very first thing that I would do to join with the family is introduce myself to each person in a simple and easygoing way. So I would just be like, hey, go to each person, meet the mother, meet the father, be fun and easy and chill with the daughter, and with the son, knowing that the son's a little awkward, and knowing that the daughter's probably carrying a lot because this is like all this stuff is swirling around her. And once that sort of happened and we've sat down, I think I would say something maybe like this. So, hey everybody, I think it takes a lot of courage to come together as a family for this kind of counseling, and I really appreciate that you have all made the effort to be here. I understand that this is a difficult time for all of you, and my goal is to help you through this as a family. I know each of you is experiencing what's going on in your own way, and that each of you is going to have your own concerns and experiences and worries about what's been happening. So, the first thing that I want to do is give everybody a chance to just share their own sense of it. I'm going to ask each person to share, and when someone's sharing, if possible, I'd like the other members of the family to just listen. This is really just so everyone can just get out what's going on for them. Mom, I'm wondering if you'd be willing to start. You initiated the therapy, and I thought you might want to be the first person to just vent and share how this has been going for you. So, if you're willing, you have the floor. Okay, so then mom would share. After mom, I think I would go to the daughter, and I would say, so I'm wondering if you'd like to go next because a lot of this is about you. And, I'm wondering how that feels. I'm wondering what it's like. Go, and I would let her talk. Then I don't know if I'd go to the dad or the son, but I might kind of feel it out. So that's the introduction. So the second segment is asking what I'd say if there was interruption, to interrupt any bickering or blaming that the parents were doing. And so this is my imagination. What I imagine happening is that the two parents have kind of locked into a dynamic and they're starting to argue. And so I'm thinking that I would do something like this. I would say, I'm wondering if I can stop you for a second, and just ask you a question. So I'm noticing that you guys are starting to argue a little bit. And earlier when we were talking, you, the dad, mentioned that sometimes when things get a little heated, you like to walk away. And you mentioned that sometimes what you said is that you feel like she can get a little too emotional. Is that right? Do you feel like this is a time like that? Is this the kind of moment in your family where you might kind of disengage? Okay. And Mom, you mentioned that you feel like you're not getting your voice heard. You feel underappreciated, not understood, and maybe overworked. Is this the kind of moment where you might be feeling some of those feelings? Okay, so I'm wondering if we can do something different than normal, and instead of you walking away, we can try to kind of just stick it out. And I'm wondering if, Dad, if what you can do right now is you can offer some of that understanding. So I want you to just listen for a second and just, Mom, if you can just share your feelings. And Dad, I want you to just kind of take them in. And then after, I'll ask you to reflect back what you heard, if that's okay. So why don't you just keep talking and let's see how that feels. Okay, so then they would do that. And then once Mom had finished talking, I would then ask Dad, so what did you hear there? What did you hear her saying to you? And I would let him um, reflect it back and maybe try to kind of adjust and mold just so that, because I feel like from my reading of the narrative, a sticking point is that there's like a conflict between those two. And if maybe they can start communicating better, that could be kind of a way in for the family. Okay, so the third segment asks how we might end the session, including any homework that you might suggest to help them meet the goals they've set for themselves. So I imagine that the goal the family has set is for mom and dad to start listening to each other, and for mom and dad to both start listening to both children. Because we read in the narrative that the daughter mentioned feeling depressed a year before, and then they were shocked when this happened. And the son is kind of blaming the sister for screwing up the family dynamic. So I think that both the parents have a role in solving that. So I would say something like this. So, Hey, I think all of you guys have done a really, oh, sorry. I think you've all done a really great job today, and I appreciate all the work that you have done here. And in this session, we set a goal, or you set a goal of really, over the next week, just trying to listen to each other. And I'm wondering if mom and dad, if I can give you guys a little bit of homework. You kids probably get homework at school, so I'm wondering if you two can do some homework for me. And what I want you to do is I want you to two things. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to practice the kind of communication that we practiced today. And when you do it, take a note of it in your mind and just try to remember it. And the second thing I want you to do is if you start to get emotional and you're walking away or you're starting to feel something and he's not understanding you, I want you to take a note of that as well. So just mentally note, I was in the kitchen, I was thinking this, or I was walking into the kitchen and she was saying this. Just take a note of that so that we can go over it next time. That might be a good launching point for us to continue. Okay? How does that feel? And then we'd probably go around and just get a checkout. All right, hopefully that's good for everybody. This is really hard to do. I'm looking forward to watching everybody's videos. Thanks.